Hello and welcome to my country garden. Well, Scotland's got a heat wave at last. And I know some of you in other parts of the UK will be completely fed up of the really hot weather, but we haven't had roasty toasty weather for a little while. So 3 days of above 25 degrees C, I think, constitutes a heat wave. And this is day 2. So it's hot in the garden, but I've got lots of things that I want to try and do, and I'll take you along with me. I also have a number of harvests that I want to make. And lastly, I want to show you yesterday's harvest. Last night, yesterday evening, I had a harvest that surprised me in a good way. Okay, first of all, there's some peas I want to get harvested, so let's see what I have on the pea front. Okay, these are my Kent blue peas. Now, most people will eat these as mange tout, and I did certainly harvest some as mange tout, but then I started noticing marks on the pods, and I thought, I don't fancy eating that. I don't really know what the marks are. They don't seem to be disease per se. I don't even know whether they might have been just the normal marks on the Kent blue pods. Anyway, I've made the decision that I'm going to harvest the rest as peas that I will pod. I've got loads and loads. Not all of them are quite ready. You can see though, they've obviously got quite a thin pod because you can see the indentation of the peas within it. So I'll harvest some of these and let the rest fill out. As you can see, I have got loads and loads and loads and loads. I've never had such a large harvest. I'm sort of wishing I had got a few more in as mange tout, and if there is any I can take as mange tout, I will still. But yeah, I think a lot of them are just too far gone and they need to be grown on as peas that I will pod. That's not a bad haul. I know what I'll be doing later. Podding peas. Let's have a look and see what they're like inside. There we are. Lovely little pod of peas. I'm sorry the sun's in the way here. I'm up at my Oregon sugar pod mange tout, some of which I've left a little bit late. But I'm sure they'll be nice and sweet still. These are my favourite mange tout. Sweet and gorgeous. Note to self, don't grow peas up an enclosed obelisk like this, because I can see there's peas in there, but it's murder to try and get them out. There's one. Yay. Oh, that was easier than the others. Any more in there? Yes. There we go. A nice little bunch of mange tout. Okay, this is me up at the Nuplu Ultra peas. Sorry about the sunlight. So I think I've got a couple of these that are ready to harvest. Yes. The thing is, the The pods are quite thick, completely opposite to the Kent Blue. So it feels like, or on first inspection you think, oh, these are going to be huge. But actually, they're not necessarily. You really need to wait on them really filling up. Now this one I think is going to be filled up. I hope. Trying to pod when you don't want to remove the peas at the same time, it's a bit tricky. Stay in your pods, people. There. Right. They're coming out. That, let's just do down. That is a mighty fine pod of peas, isn't it? And they are lovely. So that's Ne Plus Ultra. They can grow to 10 feet tall, and I let them grow that height last year. But I've just got a few this year on a not so tall obelisk. This is a little dwarf French bean called Amethyst, which gives nice purple pods, and there's a few of these that are ready to pick. Look at the flowers. Beautiful, aren't they? Just a handful, but it'll do a snack. Kent Blue peas, Oregon sugar pods, mange tout, some amethyst, French beans, and some Ne Plus Ultra peas. I'm needing to get these watered, but I've got a couple of cucumbers in this tomato grow house, and oh, there's a wasp. I can see there's one here ready to harvest. This is market, in fact they're both Marketmore, which grow great outside. Never want them to be too big. There we go, lovely Marketmore cucumber. And there's more on the go. I think I had a couple from this one, yeah I did. Yesterday, oh my goodness, look. There's another one. They hide, how do they hide? I'll maybe just leave that for a day. Cool. So I'm certainly not complaining about that harvest this morning. Now before I show you my harvest from last night, and it's worth waiting for, there's a couple of other bits and pieces I'd like to get done in the garden. We're still in the morning, probably mid-morning, so if I can get as much done in the morning as possible, then hopefully I can dodge the midday sun, or at least relax a bit more in the midday sun. Okay, I have got various roses to deadhead, so I'm going to get on with that now. And I'm in a little shaded bit of the garden. It's sunny down there and it's sunny up there, so I'm enjoying the bit of shade while I do this. So I hope you can see me. I've got some rose fertiliser that I'm going to give these roses a bit of a feed with, I think. But I'll go round and deadhead the other roses that I've got in the garden. I don't really know much about roses. These were here when I came here and they are lovely. This one in particular is a huge gives loads and loads of roses and is quite a large plant. But I've no idea, what variety it is or whatever. It's not a very fragrant one, but I've got another one further down the garden that really is fragrant, and it's needing some attention as well. So this rose here smells absolutely fantastic. Oh, lovely. No idea what it is, no idea at all, but we'll just cut off the spent blooms in the hope that we get some more. So that was, it probably could do with getting tied up a little bit. I have sort of tried to tie it up, but I think we need to improve on that. Let's do that now. There. That's much better. There. Oh, gorgeous. Then we have this peachy coloured one here that isn't particularly fragranced either, but is beautiful nevertheless. So let me get that chopped. I've got a couple of little sort of window box type containers, and I have a glut of lettuce seedlings. Now I know it's roasty toasty, but my plan is to empty out these two containers, put in some fresh compost, make sure it's all lovely and watered, and then get some of the lettuce seedlings in here, and then find somewhere out of the direct sunlight for them to grow on. Now these were down at an area of the garden that had gotten overgrown, so I better just check that there's no slugs and snails kicking about. In fact, look at that, it's all coming out really easily. Bam! So I now have a completely empty container. That's quite good, that worked well. Right, and what I have here is it's actually one of the pots that I got my potato harvest from yesterday, and I'm going to add, I don't have fish blood and bone, but I do have chicken manure pellets, so I'll just add a touch of that just to liven up the spent compost. I don't need to go mad with it, but yeah, we'll do that, and then I'll show you the lettuce that we're going to be sowing. And as I'm doing this, I'm going to make sure I don't add in any little potatoes that I've missed when I've been harvesting. Do that right. Just a few more of those. Okay, I'm going to give this a good water and then I'll get the lettuce seedlings. Okie dokie, I have loads and loads of lettuce. So this tray has got Lolo Rosso and Little Gem. So I'm going to take some of these. I'll probably do alternates across here. So three Little Gem and two Lolo Rosso, I think. There. Okay. So you Little Gem are in the middle. Oops. You are in the end. You are in the end. And you guys are in between. I have got lots and lots of lettuce again, but that's because I go through loads of it with the chickens and the quails, as well as in salads, so I can never have enough lettuce. What I haven't done is my successional sowing hasn't been as prompt as it should have been, because I've actually at the point where I finished all my first load of lettuce maybe a week or so ago, and most of my lettuce now is about this size, so it's going to be a couple of weeks before I can start harvesting some leaves, and maybe 4 weeks before I've got little lettuces that I can harvest. So yeah. Now of course lettuce does not like this roasty toasty weather, but we've only got a couple more days of it and then it's going to settle down to 19, 20, maybe even 18 with a lot more rain, so should be okay. I just need to nurse them through the hot weather today and tomorrow. So again, I'm going to just give another little water to water them in. Roasty toasty. And I'm going to pop them over there onto the roof of that small chicken run because it's now in shade, and will be for a fair part of the rest of the day. Okay, the next, oh it's light just now, the next window box type container is this one. Look at all the weeds. Actually, I'm just going to tip this out. And good. And check for any undesirables. Like these, look at this. You can go back there and there's, come on, let go. Ooh, you're a biggie. A couple of little ones. Always lurking. Right. Nothing in there, don't think. Good. Right, let's get this one filled as well then. Right. Different lettuce for this one. We're going to go with, what is this one called? We're going to go with one that I can't remember the name of. It might be Red Moon actually. And Grenoble Red. So, as you can see, lots of lettuce. Right. Right. Where am I going to put this? Okay. Got another one. I've got rid of all the undesirables in it, i.e. the snails and the slugs around the edge. And let's pop in some more compost. And this time I'm going to put in some some freckles, although this freckles is wilting a bit. So some freckles and maybe some more of the Red Moon. I'll just let this water sink in a little bit. Right. This grows quite large, but I'll harvest leaves as it gets bigger rather than waiting on it being a huge lettuce. Right, okay, so that is freckles. And let's get a couple more of these guys. Maybe 3 actually. Just put them up the middle. There we go. Let's give it a little tickle with the hose and pop this somewhere out of the chicken's reach as well. Okay, I think now's the time to take you back to last night. I was out in the garden after work and I had a few things to harvest. So let me show you what unfolded. So I was out here at lunchtime, just letting the girls out for a little run and just chilling out. Friday lunchtime, glorious weather. And I thought I'd have a look in this brassica cage at the cauliflowers because loads of leaves, but I wasn't really seeing any cauliflowers. So I opened it up and I had a look and squealed with delight. Absolutely squealed with delight. Tom was shouting over, "What's wrong?" And I'm like, ah! It was fantastic. So let me show you what we've got in here. Look at that. And look at that. And look at that. And I haven't even looked further back yet. Because and in there, oh my goodness. So basically, I have got a bed full of I've got a bed full of cauliflowers, real cauliflowers. Yay! So I don't think I'm alone in having a bit of a challenge where growing cauliflowers is concerned. But these look great. Let me get one harvested so we can have a look at it. But if these are ready, I'm not going to hang about because it's really warm over this weekend and I don't want them to blow. So if I have to harvest them all and blanch and freeze a lot of them, I will absolutely do that. I've never had a harvest like this. Yay! I hope anyway. Let's see what they're like when I get them out. Right. Don't laugh. This is what I need. Is that going to go over? Okie dokie. Oh my goodness. Right, let's just tidy this up a bit and show you what it is like. Look at that. Is that not great? Absolutely gorgeous and brilliant white. I am over the moon with these. I don't know if I need to... let's have a look at some of the others and see if I need to bring them out. I might just harvest that one. Looks a little bit more ropey. Let's just... This one's looking... Well, the chickens are going to have lots of leaves to eat. This one has got just a little bit of... Looks a little bit of slug damage just there, but there's a lot of goodness. So this is a smaller one, but yeah, fantastic. Also in this bed, I have some calabrese, and I can see it's not huge, but I think probably it's ready to be harvested. I think there's just 3 plants in here. So if maybe a bit more. So that's little, but ready to be harvested. And then you can see down there, we're going to get, just in there, we're going to get some more side shoots. So I'm going to harvest that as well. And I think I've got some calabrese in the other bed. Well, I know I've got some calabrese in the other bed to get. Well, what can I say? I'm sorry, but I can't act all nonchalant and say, oh, quite a nice harvest. I am blown away. The bigger calabrese was from bed down there. I think it was Stromboli. And then the smaller ones were from up there, and it might have been Ironman actually. Cauliflowers are Skipper, and I think I've got 3 more left in there. But yeah, I'm absolutely blown away by this. I've got a lot of veg prep to be doing. Now, next, I think I've got some potatoes that I need to harvest. This is probably not going to have me smiling quite so much, because there's a couple of pots of main crop, I think, that have gone a bit weird. So I'm going to harvest them, and I'm not expecting big things. But hey, I'm still on the high from this. Right, I've got this pot of potatoes. I believe these are Manitou. Now, Manitou are a red potato, a main crop, and I grew these as part of last year's single seed potato challenge that's run by Steve Digwell of the Digwell Greenfingers channel. So I kept a few aside, and these are my own saved seed in here. Now we're only on the 11th of July, but the leaves have all got little holes in them. So I don't know what's happening, but the plants, the top of the plant's a bit floppy and not looking that great. So I'm just going to harvest this and see if there's anything untoward with the potatoes, and see if actually I have got much in the way of potatoes, since we're pretty early for a main crop. These were fantastic potatoes, loved them, really tasty, really versatile, really big usually. So I don't know what I'm going to find here, but it's unfortunate, they just don't look very well. So how many did I put in? I didn't even say. I think probably I put in two halves or something. Let's see. It's a 25 litre pot, I think. And I think I've been keeping on top of the watering. Right, so we do have potatoes. They're not huge because these are main crops, and they should be 3 or 4 times this size. But just looking at the tops, I wasn't that impressed. I didn't think they were going to survive much longer. Now these are a bit better size, but again still very small. But you know, for this time of year, I'm not really complaining. I've got another pot as well. I think it's in the same sorry state, so I'll just go and get that in a second. Okay, so really for a main crop, not that impressive, but it's fine. There's plenty of potatoes there for a couple of meals. So let me go and get the other pot. I'll pop the compost back into the tub. So I don't know what was causing that. What would be causing, and what would be biting holes in the leaves? The other potatoes are round and about, you know, right next door to these. These potatoes didn't have the same issue. So I don't really understand what's happening. Can you see me? Right, I've decided to leave. I've actually got another 2 pots of Manitou, and they are looking suitably moth-eaten. At least one of the haulms in each is all holey. You know, the leaves are all holey. But they've got some life in them yet, I think. So I thought instead, to get some more potatoes for the house, I would harvest this. Now this is my first pot of Charlottes. Secondarily, I'd like, you know, I could wait in these to die down to get the optimum harvest, I think. But I do love Charlottes, and I've been waiting on them all year. So let's just see what I have in this pot. I actually have, I think, a total of 7 30 litre pots of Charlottes. So harvesting these ones are still plenty more to go. Okay, I'll bring in a bit closer so you can see what's happening. The camera's casting a shadow. There. That'll do. Right. Okay, so got some little ones to begin with. Of course, we're not wanting these to be too big because they're new potatoes, and we want them sort of salady potato size, really. Oh gosh, this is dry. A problem that a lot of us are going to have because of the weather, but I'm not complaining. Yeah, these are, maybe 2 or 3 weeks early, I think. But there's lots of eating in them, I'm sure. There's still quite a few teeny tinies, but most of them are very edible. Ugh. That's the seed potato, or one of them. I think I probably had 3 Charlottes in here. That's my usual tactic, 3 seed potatoes. Oakley dokley. So there we have it. We have Charlottes over here on my left, your right, and then the Manitou here. Can you see that? So yeah, I'm not disappointed really. The Charlottes are looking great. Probably with a bit more consistent watering and a couple more weeks they would have been excellent, but they're pretty good, I think, and they'll taste lovely. The Manitous, it could have had more time, really needed more time, but I just wanted to see what was happening since the foliage was looking a bit ropey. But there we go. Okay, that's me finished my Friday evening harvest, and I am chuffed to bits. Some lovely, pretty much unblemished cauliflowers, the odd little blemish, but nothing too bad. Loads and loads of calabrese, and then the Manitou and the Charlotte potatoes. Right, the camera's threatening to overheat for a second time today, so I think I better call a halt. But before I do, you'll notice there's some names going across the bottom of the screen, and these are people who have joined my Patreon group, and I'm very much appreciative of them doing so. There's actually a number of tiers you can join, and various benefits that you get depending on the tier that you come in on. So thanks again everyone for joining the Patreon group, and if anyone's interested, you'll see a link to it in the description of this video. I hope you have enjoyed this video. If you have, please give me a thumbs up, and I will talk to you again very, very soon. Bye bye for now.